Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Micks Mowers. In today's episode we're going to be going on with this Ransomes Marquis lawnmower. I have put the roller back in, and confession time, I can't separate that roller. I've tried and tried and tried, I've videoed it and it will not come apart. It's split into two rollers, bearings each side, you take them off, that's no problem to do that. I've got it apart about that much. And I've been applying heat, I've been applying oil, I've been leaving it in diesel, I've tried everything and it will not separate. So I've made the director's decision, and that is to put it back and leave it, because if I break it, game over. You're not gonna get just another roller for this. It's not gonna happen. You've got to buy a complete scrap lawnmower to do it. And the chances are that's gonna be in just as bad condition as this. So rather than risk breaking it, I'm going to put it back together. What it is it won't freewheel independently. That's all it is. It's locked up into one roller position. So it's not the end of the world. If another machine comes up at some point that's cheap enough and the roller is fine, I should buy that and then put that onto this. But I'm not risking it. If I break that cast roller, and I've already chipped a little bit of it, I have to aerodynamic it back. If I break it, it's going to be game over. I just can't do that. So that's where I am. If this is the first time I'm watching Micks Mowers, hit the old subscribe button or whack the old bell, set notifications to all. Any comments you've got, leave them down below, and give us a thumbs up on your way in or way out. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty and let's get on with this Ransomes Marquis lawnmower. Right, so far so good. Let's get a can of lemon juice open. So far so good. All I've done is, that's better. So far, I've just put the roller back into place, and there's 3 bolts either side that hook up just to enable you to free roll on this machine. Okay, it does free roll, but it's free rolling as one unit, not as 2 separate rollers. And I've also just on the side here, I've just loosely put on the roller cog. I need to find my chain wrench just to do that up just a touch. That's as far as I am. The cylinder at the moment is underneath the camera, and that's due to go off this week. I have ordered a new back blade for it, because the back blade that I have, let me show you it. The back blade that I have is absolutely had it. It's got a massive bend in it, and there was not much meat on the bone there. So I've ordered a new one of those, and that's on its way. I think I paid about 30 quid for that. So I'm already investing into it. And as I say, it's just not worth risking the parts of this machine like the roller, because if I wreck the roller, it is game over. Okay, so as I say, I've just put the drive cog on. That's just on loosely. Okay, I've got a little bit of touch up to do just with paint, but I can get around and do it later on. But there's going to be a few nicks on it as I'm putting it back together. I've already nicked it here once already. So the paint is very dry, you know, it's good, but well, I'm putting stuff on and bashing stuff. It is taking a little bit of a nick, so I might just spray some paint into a pot and then just hand brush it where it needs it. But it's just a few places I've just missed with that, but it's different daylight shows it. So the sprocket on the drive I have just loosely put on. Don't forget that is a left-hand thread, as is this one here that goes onto the cylinder. They're both left-hand threads, okay? So don't forget, that's quite important. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the engine on just loosely, and then I can put all the cowling on, all the pull cord assembly, all the exhaust, the drive shaft on as well. That's what I'd like to get to today. Maybe put the handles on just so I can manoeuvre it about a bit in the old shed, because at the moment I've got bits absolutely everywhere. So let's put the engine on, loosely fit that, and then we start to rebuild this little lawnmower nice and slowly. Right, let's go and put a pair of gloves on, and I'll go and get the engine. It's just over to my side here. I'll try and put this on in one go without scratching any paint up where I can. Just be glad to get the engine on, and then that just gets rid of quite a big component of stuff. Got the HT lead. Right, here comes the engine. As I say, I want to try and put this on in one go if I can, so I don't scratch any paint. We'll try and get hold of it in a sensible position without dropping it. Oh, I'm going to drop it there anyway. That's better. It's got to go about there and about there. That's about right. I've got got some bolts to put on. Now, there'll be not a lot of impact on with this. This is going to be mainly just screwed on and spanner. So I may just have to cut you guys out just whilst I'm doing it up, because it will take a while. So I've actually found the engine number on this, and this engine number is F120201/21428 is my engine number. I'll put that in there, and just hopefully I've got it in the right location. It might start to take. Put all the bolts in, nice and loosey goosey. I might have to lift it one end, just so I can find the bolt. There is one. I've got one. Let's find the other. Back to you. Ever so slightly. There it goes. Right, so that's two. So that should be all the moving of the engine I have to do. And because I pushed it that way, there's no paint drag on this side. Got two more bolts. That one goes in there. That one goes in there. That should have it. Yeah, that's taken. That one's really fiddly because you've got the oil filler there as well. There's no oil in this engine. Yeah, that's in. Cool. Now, what I'm going to do before I bolt them down is grab the shaft, and I'm going to try and manoeuvre the shaft into position so that I can apply the main shaft through. I'm hoping I've done it right, not put the engine on too soon. I might have had to put the shaft in first, but we shall see. Okay, so I just put the shaft on loosely, feed it in from this way. Make sure you got your collar on and your sleeve and your circlip. Push your circlip all the way back, because now what we've got to do is we've got to slowly try and attach this this centrifugal clutch drum cover. It's got to have a keyway put on it as well, as far back as you can go. Fit that over top. That sits on there lovely. And then we've got to feed that into there. Push that circlip back even further. As far back as it'll go. And then with a soft mallet, once I've tightened down his engine bolts, I need to put the keyway in, which is here, and a grub screw. The keyway's got to sit in there. Okay. And I'm going one way, which is that way there. Sink that in, and then slowly start to drift this clutch drum back to where it needs to be. So make sure your keyway is all the way sat down. Which mine now is. I'll do my engine bolts up, and I'm going to slowly start to insert this this shaft back into its home. It's got to go all the way down so that the shaft meets inside the engine. So you might have to pull the clutch drum out slightly, just slide this down so it all goes up. I don't want to really be bashing it too hard. I'll put a cloth over it and a bit of wood or something to make sure it goes in, but you get the gist. 4 bolts down, and then punch this shaft all the way back in home. Just be careful, it is a bearing. Apply a little bit of grease if needed, and put it back into where it belongs, and I'll come back when I've done that. Okay, so this is where we are now. I've managed to line the shaft up. It's got the circlip on the inside here. The clutch drum is in place, keyway's all in place. It's not keyed in yet. I managed to put the shaft in. What I did with the shaft, I've got a very, very fine sandpaper. I'm not quite sure how fine this is, but this is really fine stuff, probably about 2000. And just cleaned the end of the shaft up. Apply a little bit of heat resistant grease, just a smidgen, just to make contact, and then lined it up. I mean, if you just pick this side of the shaft up and just tap it home very, very gently, don't go welting it because you'll damage the bearing, and then push it all the way into the shoulder meets, and then it'll go up. So that's where we are now. I've now got to line up the clutch drum with the keyway. It's going to be about there. That's got to slide home, which it does beautifully. And that's got a grub screw to go into there, which I should have. Now, confession time, I have actually dropped a piece. I know I have. I heard it drop. Here's my grub screw. I'm not quite sure. I think I found it, but I'm not quite sure if I've dropped more than one piece. That's my issue. So this little tiny grub screw goes into here, and that secures the clutch drum, centrifugal clutch drum shield cover over top. There's a little bit of grinding there, so you can just bring it back just a hair's breadth. Just there's a little bit of space there. Don't go mad with it. And then wind that one in till it goes like so, and that's now in, which is good. Got someone trying to ring me. I should ignore that for a minute. So that's in, and then I've got to bring up the circlip, which is there. That's actually quite slack Alice in there, so let me get a pair of pliers and just try and close up that circlip. How long nose might do it. Just try and close that circlip up a touch. Just it's actually going to do its job. Yeah, I might have to get another pair of pliers. Let me get a pair of pliers to tie that circlip up. Well, I've just got a pair of pliers on that circlip there, just to make sure it doesn't come off the shaft, which is fine. That it doesn't. Grub screw's done up. That now pushes up onto there. That rotates round, and then we can now bolt up this part of the plate system. Right, so now what we can do is now put these bolts in. It's free to put in, and we line up with this little plate. There's one, and this will help secure the bearing in place on the drive. It's free to do. Yeah, I know I missed a bit on spraying, but if it's going to be inside a cover, you're not going to see it, so I'm not overly concerned. Some of the bits I just forgot to do. So we'll do these three up, and that'll secure this bearing housing in together. So I'll get them done, and I'll come back to you in 2 ticks once they're on. So give us a minute, and I'll be back. Okay, that's all now back into place, and I've got a grease gun. I've just put the nipple back in. I may have to buy some more nipples for this. We shall see. Let's just see if that'll go on. It does, but it may not take. We shall see. Is it coming out the other side? No. Not bear with. Try that. No. Okay, so I need to buy some more nipples because they are slightly older ones, and I've got a new gun, so I'm going to have to get a new bunch of nipples for them. That's no biggie, I can do that. So happy with that so far. It all spins as it should do quite well. I could just pack some grease around here, but I want to do it properly to grease that shaft up. So that's all good. So the next step we're going to do, I've got to tighten the cog up yet on this drive. I should leave that for now. Let's go around the other side of the engine, and we're going to fit on the recoil assembly, the tank, all of that sort of nice stuff, and then that's that part of the engine done, other than just the oil. I'll fit the carburetor up, all that sort of good stuff, and then by then hopefully the tank will be back, the cylinder will be back, and all that sort of stuff. So we'll go to the other side, and we'll fit the other bits. Okay, now we're on this side of the engine. I've got some bolts to take off, which would be this one here, a little tiny nut and bolt. That's for the tank. I've also got this one here, which is a pickle one to get to. Let's take that one out. That's quite a long one, that one. Okay, and there should be one up here with a little tiny washer on it. that was even longer. This is going to look absolutely beautiful, I think, when this tank is mounted. So let's now mount the tank around that way, Mick. That's it. Let's sit that on there. Look at that. What do you think of that, people? Lift the tank up very slightly. Should have got some cotton gloves, shouldn't I? Because no doubt the acid from my my hands are going to affect it. I'm just literally out of latex ones. I might have to go and into the house. I have got some spare in the house. I may go and do that in a tick. So this bolt here is the hardest one to do with the flywheel on. So what I did was, if you've been watching the other videos, is I actually grounded back a ring spanner just on the edges. So if you do it up as much as you can with your fingers, get it as tight as you can, okay, and then line up the other two. So one round here, where is it? That one there. Line him up, get him started, and then the nut and bolt on the other side. Line that one up. And let's put the bolt through that way, that'd be easier. All the way through. So, and do that one up, just hand tight. Just so you got all three sort of lined. So I can feel the sweat coming off my hands. So I don't want to be introducing it because it'll mark the paint. It's just because I'm nervous. Okay, and then I've got this spanner, which I've ground the sides down, and with a little bit of patience, you can now get 1/4 of a turn at a time on that little tiny nut. It is quite a slow process, but we need to be careful because of the paint. And you just start to do that one up 1/4 turn at a time. So take your time with it, and you'll get there. So let me do these 3 bolts up, and I'll come back when I've done so. Okay, so I took the fuel tank back off very quickly. You can just loosen them all up and just lift the tank up slightly and then twist it on. That's all now on. And what I'm going to do is, this tap actually has a very fine mesh filter on the inside. So I'm not going to put an inline filter on it. Put the cup back on. That was all previously sprayed, and also the gauze around it as well. So that's all now done. So now what I'm going to do is spin the mower around slightly. We're going to fit the carb, because the carb's got a fuel line on it which needs to come round and be sat inside the pull cord assembly. So I'll turn it around and we'll fit the carb. So first of all, before we put the carb on, we've got to put our exhaust on, because it's going to be a bit of a pig to get to otherwise. So I've got one stud and one bolt to put on. And I've got the original exhaust, or an original, which is in really good condition, all sprayed up, looking lovely. So the bolt goes through there, and line that up. And line up your nut the other side. Let's just tighten up slowly. I'm so glad I managed to get the proper exhaust for it. Just finishes it off and gives this engine its unique sound. The other one, the eyelid version, it just doesn't sound, it doesn't have that popping noise, which we all know with these engines. Let's try and get that nut on. It's been a bit fiddly. There it goes. So let me just get those up. It won't be 2 seconds. I can find my 3/8 spanner. At the moment, literally, I've got bits and pieces of tools absolutely everywhere. I'm absolutely covered with bits of tools and what have you. And this is part of the reason why I want to get some of this put back together. It may be a bit premature, but if I don't get some of it together, I'm going to start to lose bits, start to forget where bits go, without referring back to the videos. But all the videos are all on cards and what have you, so I have to sit back and watch them myself before I edit them up. So that one goes there. I might put a little adjustable on that, possibly, just to make my life a little bit easier. And that's that done. That's the exhaust. And that exhaust was absolutely spanking on there. Absolutely beautiful. So now we can fit the carburetor, which is all complete bar the top piece, which has been sprayed on the oil bath side. I'm going to remove the throttle cable just for ease. And all we've got on here is a little flat-headed screw. Now I'm not going to spray the carburetor. Carburetor can stay as it is. That just slides on. It might be a bit tough because of a spray paint that's been added. I might put a little tiny bit of grease on there, we shall see. It's going to go. It's a much tighter fit than what it was previously. But as I say, it's just because we've sprayed the engine several coats. Let's get that on. I'll be happy about there, I'd say. That's a carburetor on, and then the hose for the carburetor goes around the back, and there's a little tiny bracket. Now this bracket is actually, looks like it's been tack welded to the bottom of this valve, bottom of this cover. I don't know if it's original or what it is, but just want to measure up the pipe to see how much pipe I've got to go around. I don't think I'm going to have enough to go on, so I need to take that off and fit a new bit of pipe on there, just to give me a bit more slack when I fit the fuel pipe on. But exhaust is on, carburetor's on. Just need to get a flat-headed screwdriver so we can do up the carburetor in its right place. I should do it. Just want to make sure the carburetor is on. I may get a bit of sandpaper and loosen it off a touch. Let's see how tight that is. That's not tight, that should be okay. Let's try and take it off. See how far back that went. Yeah, it didn't go all the way in. Let's just apply a little tiny bit of grease just to help it slide. Just literally a piece on the end of my finger. Just to help it along. Which is good. And now let's try again. Yeah, it's better. That's it. That's where it wants to go, just like that. So what I'm going to do first off is to remove this bit of fuel line and put a new bit of fuel line on, much longer, so that when we go to hook it up via the pull cord assembly, it'll all tie in, because that just isn't quite enough. Some people bring the fuel line, instead of it going through the cylinder, they bring it over the top like that. That's not how it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go down and under, down through here. Because I snipped it, there's not going to be enough there to get the pull cord assembly on, I don't think, and get it around that corner. I'm going to be short by about 1.5 inches. So fuel line back off, and then I'll put a new piece on. Okay, so carburetor's now on. A new bit of fuel line's been added. Got a bit of green to spray here, missed a bit here too. Look, right, look. I have to put the cover over it and spray it. Yeah, that goes around a bracket. I've just had to move the carburetor inlet hose around that way, so it goes round and back. So that way, when it goes onto the pull cord assembly, it's not touching the flywheel and it's not touching the guard. Because on the flywheel, on the fuel line, it's got to go on these 3 tabs here. So what I'm going to try and do now is very gently, loosely fit these fuel lines as close as you can get to the machine without scratching any more paint, and just hook those fuel lines underneath those 3 tabs. You might have to get a little screwdriver just to incorporate those tabs in, but now those fuel lines are in, what you can now do is just gently pull the fuel line through those tabs, very gently. Just take some of the tension up, about there, and then that should all fit my new HT lead. Very gently slide all that into place, and just double check your fuel line is plenty of slack in it, which it has, and that will then fit onto there beautifully, like so. Let me get it bolted down. 2 bolts here, 2 bolts up the top, and we're done. Right, to put this pull cord assembly on, 1 7/16 bolt goes down in here to start him off. Should be another one here somewhere. There's one. 7/16 bolt goes down in here. On my head. About there. Let's start him off. Start that one off. And then we can nick them ones up. And then I've got the 2 half-inch ones up the top. But I need to put a the spark plug stop on that as well, which has been sprayed up black. I have seen them gold on some machines, but I decided against the gold. Black and silver with a bit of green, I think looks quite nice. I want to undo these very gently because they've been painted. Chance I have to go back round and do a bit of touching up where I have to, but that's just what it is. That's the name of the game, right? So let's take that one off. And that one. And that one. And then we're going to get the pull cord and we'll fit the pull cord. Okay, with your pull cord now, we can now slowly fit this into here. Make sure the mechanisms are all tucked away inside as they should be. Start that one off. Start that one off. There we go. There it goes. And that one, I'll try and bring that pull cord up if I can and hook it around something, because that silver is not the driest. You get the gist. Let me just try and fish these on. Okay, that's on. Let's just pull that over gently once I've tightened it up. Let me take that off the old ratchet. And we're just going to tighten those up. Yeah, a bit of touch-up paint needed. So I'll just get a little paintbrush just to tighten those up. Just to sort of cover them. They might look nice doing the silver actually. I might change them to silver. We'll see. What do you think? Silver? They look nice silver, wouldn't they? They may come back out yet. I may put silver on those. It doesn't look like that seems straight. There it goes. Yeah, they're going to be silver. I've already decided. So they'll come off and be resprayed in a bit. Right, with that done, what we can now do is gently pull this pull cord over. And just try and hook that back slightly. The pull cord mechanism is not moving straight because these half inches have not been done up yet. So I'll put these half inches in. Once the half inches are in, and I'll put the spark plug stop on here, should be next. I've got to tighten the carburetor screw down yet as well, and then we're sort of done on this part of the section. Okay, so that's now the pull cord now done. I've silvered these nuts up. They look much better silver. I've done this spark plug bit on the top as well. That's now done. I'm gonna have to go around with like an artist little fine brush just where I've knocked it. You know, that's just what it is. It's the name again. The paint is not 100% dry or hard yet, so but it's what it is. So now my HT lead, I want to try and fit that on up through and bring it out the side of a tank through here. So when it goes onto a spark plug, it's actually going to be in the right place. It needs to hook into those 2 tabs, one there and one there. And then that will then reach on top of a spark plug a bit later on. So quite happy with that. That's the job for a bit later on. So the next job is I've got to bring up this fuel line A bit of primer paint on there. Bring this fuel line up and just hook it round so that fuel line sits in there quite nice. So I'd say that's about right where it needs to be. Give it a little bit of a curve, just in case I need to give it any more slack. And I'm going to snip that off about there. That should be enough. Yeah, lovely. And what I do with mine, literally just get a pair of snips and just cut a little tiny slit in the tank, in the line, sorry. Get a pair of long nose pliers or some description, and then you make the heats up in a bit of water, and then just feed that over top so it goes onto the tank. But I'll probably have to end up putting in a bit of hot water first, because they can be a bit notorious, and what I don't do is start bashing the paint. So we'll give it a go, see how we get on, but I've got a feeling it's going to want a little bit of heating up. It was quite tight. Yeah, it is. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to put that in a cup of hot water for about 5 minutes. Just warm it up, and then that can then go onto there. And then that's that. In fact, I could go a bit shorter, possibly. I might do yet. I like to be hugged to the side if I can. And then we'll put that onto the tap, and I'll come back once I've done that. Right, I managed to get the fuel tap on first time actually without no hot water. How cool is that? So that's now all hooked up. It now pulls over as it should do, but bearing in mind there's no oil in this machine yet, so don't go too mad. Next thing I want to do is bring in the handles, and they have this this little setup here, which go on, and then the handles are in 4 bits. I'm going to put the lower ends on first. Only because I'm waiting on a set of black handle grips to go with it, which I found a set on eBay, which I want to pick up. I'm watching them at the moment. They're only about £3 or £4. They're just like an old-fashioned bike set. And again, what I'm going to do with these nuts, I'm going to spray these nuts on here silver. They just haven't been treated as of yet at all yet. So let me take these nuts and bolts off, and then I'll get them sprayed up silver, so that when it goes on, it'll look even better. So yeah, handles to go on there, on the inside, like so, which would be cool. And then we can start to bring us all back together with the handles. And that's the first part of the handles done. Just up loosely for now, because I need to adjust it later on, so I'm not going to do them right up tight. This will do a top half now, and then spray that nut just there. I forgot to spray it, so I get the top set done. Just literally just feed into the holes, and then do the 2 brackets up, and then they'll be done. Okay, so that's as far as we're going to get today, only because some of the paint is still wet in places, and I'm having to spray as I go, and it's not something I want to get involved in really. What's next to be done is the cylinder will go off for painting. I've got the rollers on order. They should be here this week actually, so I can get the spindle in place. I've got to put the back cover on, which goes in here. That can go on before the cylinder gets put in. I've got to put the side cover on, chains on, all that sort of good stuff, but that's sort of held me up until I get my cylinder all ground, because the cog goes onto here. So I'm a little bit stumped. I lost a bolt for the front of this on this nut, but I found it was hiding in my 9/16 socket. I was hunting around for about half an hour trying to find a bolt to fit it, but I actually found the original. So that's it. That's as far as we're going to go today. And all in all, I think this little lawnmower so far today has come on a long way. Super happy with it. New set of handlebar grips you got at the top, and all that sort of good stuff, and we're nearly there. There is only one issue I have got, and that's the bracket that holds the gearing in. I might have lost a part. Something dropped on the floor. I heard it drop. I found one piece that dropped. I think 2 bits have actually dropped. I'm not quite sure. So I may be a little bit stuck, but I'm going to have a sweep up and tie up. Now bulk of this machine is put back together, I can put all of the bits down out the way, and it fell over this area here, so I can have a good sweep up and have a good look around, see what it was. But I may have found it, I'm not quite sure. If this is the first time I'm watching Micks Mowers, hit the old subscribe button, whack your bell, and set notifications to all. And any comments you've got, leave them down below in the comment section. Give us a thumbs up on your way in, on your way out. I look forward to seeing the next episode of Micks Mowers very, very soon. But until then, people, don't forget, more importantly, take it easy.